the EA employees who are freaking out over this Saudi deal as they are panicking like crazy, saying it's going to get worse. They are
Good.
voicing their concerns over this. This is a story from, there's another story from Stephen Totillo over here where by the way, trusted gaming journalist Stephen Totillo wrote an insightful article today about the acquisition from the GameFile website over here. Two anonymous employees at EA voiced they're very concerned about this acquisition. One stating that they're afraid of layoffs that might occur with the buyout, which 100% will happen.
Yeah, it's definitely happening.
That's right. With the other stating this feels like a big FU to all the women and LGBTQ plus employees currently working at Electric Arts.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
In his note to workers, Wilson,
your feelings are accurate, dude.
Yes, it is amazing to see. He says, Wilson, the CEO, says our values and commitment to players and fans around the world remain unchanged. But this didn't convince one current EA worker who told GameFile that Andrew Wilson basically said "F you" to all the women and LGBTQ employees at EA with this deal. Speaking anonymously because they were not authorized to discuss company matters publicly, they said it just shows how many people have been collateral this past year for executives to make out rich. Nothing feels great. As we know, when the deal closes, it's gonna get worse before it gets better, if better is even possible here. Another said, I'm nervous about what this means in terms of workforce once this deal is closed, as layoffs usually follow these type of acquisitions. And on a personal level, the second person added, those future owners are not really in line with my values and beliefs.
See, it's fine until they say that bit, right? It's like, oh, I am worried about layoffs. And most people would be like, yeah, that's true because they do the layoffs. But then it's like, oh, well, these owners don't align with me. It's like, oh, shut up. Oh.
It's, and the reality is, I think this is going to be a dramatic domino for the gaming space. Whereas now that this company is going private, we're talking about one of the biggest game publishers and developers in the history of video games. EA is a monolith when it comes to this, just giant figurehead in this industry. And what you're going to see here is EA see success with this change. They're going to cut costs. They're going to increase profits. Now, there's $20 billion in the hole from this. I think they'll recover from that in time. And honestly, this is not a money thing for these Saudi investors. They will get their money back in time. They have more money than God when it comes to this stuff. With that said, what you're going to see is EA cut costs. You're going to see them make money. And all of a sudden, Activision Blizzard is going to look over there and their investors are going to go, hey, how come EA's making all this money and you guys aren't making all this money in comparison to EA, right? And then the other publisher is going to go, hey, how come EA's making all this money and we're not making all this money? And investors are going to start to speak up. And that is ultimately going to cause the next domino to fall and the next domino. And that is how you get out of this bullshit. And it's crazy to think that it's the Saudis, of all people, who are going to make the change in the Western video game industry.
You think they're actually going to make it a good change, though? I know we talked about this yesterday, but I've been thinking about it, and I've been hearing other people talk about it, too. And what if they make it super duper, strict, where no more boobs on screen, no more, sexy characters, everything has to be covered up,
Well, I think that you'll definitely see a cultural impact on that for some games, for sure, for some products. But here's the thing is, even if there's a shift, right, gamers are undefeated. They always speak up and they always get what they want in the end because they are very vocalized and ultimately they move well. They move very well and there's a lot of action behind their words. So if gamers don't like what they're seeing, they will speak about it. And ultimately, I think the owners will listen because at the end of the day, it's about money, right? It's about money for these folks. But even if they do, let's just say they do go to the extreme and they cover up women with burqas or whatever, right?
Too, and
they ain't going to be bouncing and jiggling.
Okay, let's just say that. But that will still open it up for other developers to include that things in the game. Maybe EA doesn't. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. You know, there you could see the total opposite side of things. Who knows? But I do think that this we'll see a domino fall here because of it.
We got to be a little bit careful here because this does provide the Savvy Group, PIF, all the other Saudi investors are mostly all tied to the Saudi royal family. So we need to be a little bit careful here because right now, the majority of the largest game studios in the world are all owned by 3 distinct firms in 3 distinct regions, as China, Saudi Arabia, and Microsoft, in that order of largeness. With the acquisition of EA, this makes Savvy, PIF, that whole line leading into the Saudi royal family, potentially in line to be the largest. They're like right there. And they've indicated that they want to do more after this. I don't know how super psyched I am about the idea of the largest maker of video games worldwide. Now, we're not just talking about EA. We're talking about SNK, Scopely, Niantic, the Pokemon Go guys. They have significant ownership of Capcom, Activision, Nintendo, all funneling into the Saudi royal family. That's weird. I mean, that's weird, right? I mean, I don't have a specific objection because to this point, there haven't been a lot of things they've done where they've said, okay, we're the Saudi royal family, so now Nintendo, you have to make games this way. They haven't done that yet. I'm just saying it's friggin' weird and it's off-putting and it makes all the red flags that I have instantly go up because, again, Scopely, Electronic Arts, Savvy, Nintendo, Take-Two Interactive, Activision Blizzard, Capcom, Nexon. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And with EA coming into the fold, shoot. I mean, the number of franchises that are literally now owned and controlled in some manner by the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia? What happens in the future with that? Right? Like, what does that mean? Like, that's going to be crazy. If we handed all of this off to, let's say, the woke DIA prince/princess Zer Zim of San Francisco, and it was all owned by this one person who ideologically does not align with us. Well, even if they don't do anything crazy today, we would all assume they do some crazy woke thing with it next year.
Right.
I think we have to assume that's also going to be the case with the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. I just have to assume.
Sure. Well, the Turtle Move says Saudi's already bought SNK and King of Fighters still has Mai. That's true. Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Like I said, they haven't made any significant pressures, at least none that have become public, about taking the jigglies that you guys like out of video games, right? They haven't done that yet. But again, Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, when they have a certain level of power over all the games, what does that mean for spyware? What does that mean for data collection and surveillance? What does that mean for game censorship? What does that mean for a lot of things? I don't know the answers to any of that. It's just friggin' weird.
Well, let's go over to the response to everything. All this over from the bustling biosphere of common sense that is Blue Sky.
Oh, Lord.
You can see this from Trick Weeks, who is a narrative designer by day for Mass Effect Dragon Age. They, them, by the way. Just want to point that out.
Of course. Yes.
So the buyers, this is a back and forth buyers. So your games, guns and football, yes. EA, yeah, mostly guns and football. Yeah, buyers, no gay stuff, no politics. We're not gonna like EA. Yeah, definitely not. Hey, could you give me a second? I just need to shut down the studio real quick right here. So you can see the response to this from the response in Blue Sky is like, oh my God. It's like the world is burning. I hate it here. Oh, sad Batman over here. It's my fault. I was having a good day. My bad. BioWare is doomed. Wow, I wonder if some nice LGBTQ2S friendly studio could buy out the rights to me and Dragon Age? Probably not. This is okay. All right. Sounds good. She, her, by the way. Just want to point that out.
Of course. Of course.
So yes, the meltdown is happening real on Blue Sky and on Reddit over here, because Reddit, as you would affect, this is from the Mass Effect Reddit over here. EA announces agreement to be acquired, and it is strictly rest in peace. Wow, straight up ass. Why did they even bother hoping? Since it's a private equity firm, they will sell off the IPs that are not making bank. The deal was done with like 200 million in debt. So they're definitely going to be selling off IPs. So that that's their hope, is that they're going to be selling off IPs from this.
Not necessarily. So how the Saudi royal family personal investment fund is functioning, like when they purchased Niantic, they're using it as a joint project, both to continue making money from the game's point of view and to use the user base and technology for surveillance applications. So like military surveillance and whatnot, because Niantic with Pokemon Go was developing a 3D private area space mapping technology where people playing Pokemon Go willingly map out the insides of their homes and track their user locations and that sort of thing. And they were going to build an AI system around tracking all that. That also got sold to the personal investment fund of the Saudi royal family. And they're splitting those off, basically one for military applications and selling off to other militaries, and one for making a whole lot of money in the game industry. And so it seems like what their strategy has been so far is not to kill off the studios, but to break them apart into whatever is the most profitable for them. And they are really liking the user databases. That's become a very big thing for them, and they're really trying to monetize those user databases as much as they can. That's why they purchased what was it, like Monopoly Go, Pokemon Go. They're grabbing all of these cell phone games that have 80 bazillion users, so that way they have large databases of user details and personal information, and they're monetizing that as best they can, which is spooky as all get out. But this is hard, because I love seeing all the super woke writers for BioWare and whatnot freak out. I'm like, yes, that's awesome. Anything to make that happen is great. And then I look over and I see, okay, so it's owned by the Saudi royal family that are also doing the personal user tracking of all users. Okay, now that freaks me out. So I just traded one that sucks for a totally different and unrelated that sucks. Like, okay, now I'm a little concerned.
Right. Well, look, I think this whole situation it's going to be a wait and see, like 1000%. It's interesting, and like I said, this is going to have a giant trickle down effect across the entire industry, and it's we'll see where we're at in 6 months. We'll see where we're at in a year. It's exciting times, and and scary times for a lot of people in the industry. Obey your digital overlords. Watch this video right here that YouTube suggested for you.